What is up, everybody? I'm Jack Slater, aka the Comic Outlaw, yeah! And it's time to go back to some vintage Fantastic Four. Issue 94. Yup, it's been a long stretch. We're at issue 94. And this is the return of one of my favorite teams, the Frightful Four. But if you've been reading the back issues, then you'll know I have questions about this alliance. We're going to see how it goes. Now, they finally decided a name for Franklin. Franklin B. Richards. Of course, they're naming it after his grandfather. Crystal says, why doesn't Ben hold the baby? Ben, of course, is afraid the baby's going to be afraid of him, And this is where they tell him the B is for Benjamin. They gave Benjamin's middle name to him, and he grabs onto the kid. And this starts a lifelong bond between them, where Ben will do anything to protect that kid. And this just makes it more family. This is what I love about the Fantastic Four. They are the first family of Marvel. Meanwhile, they are being watched by the Wizard. I have to admit, the Wizard has some great gadgets, but he lets his ego get ahead of him. I mean, this man, dare I say, is right up there with Dr. Doom as far as ego. Of course, he gathers everyone together. He saved the Sandman after Hulk turned the Sandman into glass. And they gather the other two, the Trapster and Medusa. And these guys are riding off. They found a babysitter, and I don't know where they found it because the internet doesn't exist at this time. They use the Yellow Pages. But they come to this big house, a mansion, you could say. And it looks like something out of Dracula or out of Amityville. And it's answered by a woman named Agatha Harkness. And of course, if you're a big fan, you know who Agatha Harkness is. But this is the woman that they selected to be Franklin's caretaker while they're on missions and such. They do a tour of the house. It's gotten late, so she invites them to stay the night. Johnny and Thing are sharing one room. Of course, Reed and Sue are sharing another one. Crystal decided to stay behind just in case anything happened, because you never know what's going to pop off during a Fantastic Four adventure. Anyways, Thing and Johnny aren't really liking the room too much. They find a hidden door. Thing is wondering what's going on. He's waiting for the pendulum to swing, if you know what I'm saying. But it's not a pendulum that comes out of nowhere and hits him. It's one of the Wizard's discs. And it hits him to the wall, and he uses those cool blast gloves, which he invented a while back. Got on a power trip and tried to destroy the Fantastic Four. It didn't work out too well for him. Anyways, they're continuing on with their plans to destroy the Fantastic Four once and for all. And the Thing is knocked out. He's still floating there. They see a little flame from Johnny, and they decide to jump him before he flames on. And right when he does flame on, the Sandman uses his powers to douse the Human Torch. And this is brilliant strategy. You do got to give it to the Wizard. When he's on his game, he is on his game. But of course, Reed and Sue are wondering what's going on. The door is glued shut by the Trapster, and yeah, he has a glue gun. Reed tries to use his hand to try to escape, but he prepares for that too, and he glues his hand to the door. I guess that's a practical way of using the glue gun. Anyways, of course, the Wizard says that they need to move forward with his evil plan, blah, blah, blah. And then Medusa, and this is what I was worried about. Medusa betrays them. Because, Crystal's her sister, and she isn't about to sell out Crystal for these guys. And so the fight is on. And Medusa's no slouch. She uses her powers against them. The Trapper, of course, tries to pull his weapon. She grabs it. The Sandman uses his sand powers, blinds her for a minute, and this is all they need. Like I said, these guys are experienced fighters in their own right, even though some of their gadgets are a little eh. They grab Medusa, they pin her to the floor, and the Trapper uses that glue gun. I gotta admit, the glue gun I always thought was kind of crappy, but it does come in handy in a lot of different situations. They run into Agatha. And they think it's going to be easy pickings, like stealing candy from a baby. But they're in for a rude awakening as the cat grows into a giant monster and flies after the Wizard. He just runs for it. He's filled with fear. And I do think this is a spell or an enchantment, given Agatha's resume as a sorceress. And of course, Sandman tries to attack her, and he becomes hard as rock. He turns into stone. Very, very brilliant move on her part. The Trapster decides to get while the getting's good, and I don't blame him. The other guys have been outclassed. So it's time to make a run for it. And as he's trying to make that run for it, a big demon comes out of nowhere, I guess, and before he could get his glue gun, whatever that was going to do, the demon grabs onto him and he just passes out from fear. Man, I guess that dude got the worst of it, huh? Anyways, everyone manages to break out. The glue dissipates. They find the trapster on the floor, paralyzed with fear. Ben explains how he escaped. Of course, they get Medusa. They pull her out of it. She asks where Crystal is. They tell her she's watching the base. And yeah, this has been adventures in babysitting, hasn't it? The Sandman is there, stiff as a board. And of course, the wizard flew out. And I guess all this was some kind of an illusion done by Agatha. It's one of her powers. And she basically just outclassed all of them, turned their fears against him. Very powerful sorceress to get into these minds, especially the wizard. But anyways, they wonder where the baby is. They find Agatha rocking the baby to sleep, telling them not to disturb the baby, and I guess they found the perfect babysitter. And this is one hell of a job interview, I must say. But hey, whatever's normal in the family that's known as the Fantastic Four is Ben slowly pieces together that she's a witch, and he decides to get out of there. And I don't blame him. That man, after all this, needs a beer and a hot plate, if you know what I'm saying. And I wouldn't want to be late either for that witch's wrath. But anyways, this is Jack Slater, Comic Outlaw, and as always, I'll catch you on the flip side. Yeah!